let's get started in our chairs. So make sure you have a nice stable seat below you and your feet are able to touch the floor. Also, if you do have a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, you can grab that. If you don't have anything similar to a lacrosse ball or tennis ball, it's okay. I'm going to give you some options. But we're going to start with grounding our feet. So we start with the ball. If you have one, start with the ball and just gently start to roll your right foot over top of the ball. And you don't have to push here. This doesn't have to be very intense at all, just a gentle rolling. Now, if you don't have a ball, you can keep your right foot on the floor and start to rock back and forth across the base of your right foot from toes to heel. And that will begin a little bit of that sensation building up in the foot. Good. And you can use this time to start to collect up the mind. If you're sort of notice that you're thinking about lots of different things or you're already sort of planning what you're going to do after class, this is a great opportunity to kind of call those parts of your mind back in as you prepare for practice. Make sure if you are using the ball that you're rolling your arches out, your inner arches, your outer arches, and around your heel, and then underneath your toes. If you don't have a ball, you could lift your heel up so you're up on your toes and start to circle the heel here, creating a sort of rocking motion across the base of the toes, helping to stretch the toes out. There's not a lot that we do in our days that really works and stretches these toes. So this is a good opportunity to get in there and gently, gently start to stretch them out. Keeping that dexterity and mobility in your toes is so good, so helpful. And, and then again, rolling around on the base of the foot or rocking back and forth. All right, let's switch feet. So if you're using the ball now, the ball is underneath your left foot and you're rolling gently around the base of the left foot. If you're not using a ball, that's fine. Rock back and forth on that foot, heel to toe, heel to toe. Go. You can start to tune into your breathing a little bit here, just even noticing your breathing a bit as you're rolling out the feet. If you are using the ball, you want to make sure that you're working there to roll out the arches a little bit. They tend to get quite tight. And around the heel, and then underneath those toes. And again, if you're not using the ball, it's absolutely fine. You can keep your toes on the floor, lift the heel a little bit, and start to circle the heel like you're drawing circles there, getting some motion in the ankle and the foot. And if you are using the ball, you want to come back to rolling around the base of the foot. If you're not using a ball, you can come back to doing a little bit more rocking on that foot. We're just kind of opening up and heightening a little sensation in the feet. This is, I find, very helpful, kind of bringing an active mind down a little bit more into the body. So if you are finding yourself feeling a bit distracted, this can be helpful in just bringing that mind back in and being a little bit more aware of the body. Good. If you are using a ball, you can go ahead and tuck that ball off now to the side. Place it somewhere you're not going to step on it, but also somewhere it's not going to roll away on you. Returning back to sit centered in your chair, feet flat on the floor, toes pointing straight forward. Rest your hands into your lap and just see if you can sit up just a little taller. Not so tall that you feel sort of rigid, but just a little lift, a little extra lift here through the chest, through the spine, into the belly. Gazing now straight ahead of you. So that might be at your computer screen or it might not. It depends on the level of the screen. So you want to gaze straight ahead now. And take a moment to really acknowledge where your eyes are looking and what they're looking on. Maybe there's some bright colors. So you might name some of those colors. Maybe there's some specific objects that you can name. But deliberately now and consciously take in, notice what your eyes are looking at. I like to think of this as part of receiving the moment. So much of our time and energy is spent actually looking past where we are and not really being in the present moment. So, using our senses, all five of our senses, is a great way to receive the moment or become really present in the moment that we're in. So, just as you're looking, now start to tune into your sense of hearing. And you're probably, hopefully, hearing my voice. So, you could name that. You can go, oh, that's Kristen's voice. But then you might also notice if you're hearing anything else, if there's a fan going or a dishwasher running, or you might hear some other sounds in the room that you're in or slightly outside the room. You might hear some other sounds coming from outside the building you're in. You might hear some sounds from the road. But then you also might hear some sounds like your own breathing. We have to get particularly still and quiet to start to notice our own breathing. So just see if you can do that now. Good. And then just like we are looking through our eyes and listening through our ears, start to pick up the sensations of your skin. So this is the sensation of touch. One of the simplest ways to do this is to turn your hands down onto your thighs and give a little rub to the thighs and notice the sensation, not just on the thighs themselves, but the feelings that your hands are picking up, the texture of the pants that you're wearing, and just that feeling of rubbing back and forth if you feel that in on your hands. But then you might also notice if you're wearing long sleeves like I am, you might feel the texture of the shirt over your skin of your arms or resting on your chest. You also might start to pick up maybe a little bit of the temperature of the air of the room that you're in. You might even start to notice maybe the feeling of your feet, if your feet are bare like mine on the floor. But even if you're wearing socks or shoes, see if you can pick up the sensation on your skin of your feet, of the texture of your socks or shoes. You might notice as we start to really tune in, become conscious of all the details that our senses are picking up. You might feel a little ease coming now into the body, even a feeling of relaxation. Yeah, so let's move to the nose now. Taking a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. And here you might feel the air coming in through the nose. That's part of our sense of touch. But then also see if you can tune in to some of the scents, the aromas that are traveling on that air. If you're close to the kitchen, maybe you smell what you made for breakfast or some coffee. Maybe you're wearing a scent and you can smell that scent. Or maybe there's just a scent that you notice, but you can't quite name, and that's okay. It's not really about the naming as much as it is about the noticing. Just noticing the scent. Okay. And then let's lick the lips. Start to move your tongue around a little in your mouth, and you'll start to build up a bit of saliva in your mouth. And see if you can register some flavors in the mouth. What do you notice? Maybe it's the remnants of the coffee or tea you had this morning or your breakfast, or maybe it's your toothpaste. Or maybe there's just some other flavor that's remnant in the mouth, and it might even trigger a little thought or memory sometimes, especially taste and smell, I find can really trigger thoughts or memories. You just notice that for yourself. Again, you might name the flavors if you know what they are, but if you don't, that's fine. You can move your tongue along the front of your teeth and over the top of the teeth, really starting to build up a fair bit of saliva now. And then when you find you have a good buildup of saliva there, you can swallow and notice the sensation of the swallow. With the sensation of the swallow comes a feeling of release, a descending feeling of letting go, of sinking in. Follow that feeling. Allow your body to let go a little. Allow your body to sink in just a little. And in this more easeful space of the body, this calmer space of the mind, start to tune in to your breath, however you do that. Maybe it's through the sense of the nose, maybe it's through the rise and fall of the chest or the expansion and contraction of the belly, or maybe it's through some other experience, but start to tune in to your feeling of breathing. And here, as we notice the breath, ensure now that you're not changing your breath at all. And this can be kind of challenging. Often, the moment we notice our breath, we actually start to affect it. So just give yourself a few moments here of noticing your breath and allowing your breath to come back to something that feels very natural, very easy. Good. You are welcome to stay with this natural breath throughout the whole practice. The key to our breath through our yoga practice is our awareness of breath. Okay, so if you're working with your natural breath, especially if you notice you kind of hold your breath a lot, staying with that natural breath can be really helpful. So that might be your breath of practice. I am going to offer up here a way of working with your breath right now that can really help with this relaxation response. So if that feels good for you, you can join me here. Otherwise, stay in that awareness of your natural breath. Okay. This breath practice we're going to do, we're going to inhale for count of 4 through the nose. Then you're going to exhale for a count of 8 out the mouth. Now, as you exhale out the mouth, you want to make your lips a little tighter. It's almost like you're blowing out through a straw. And we're going to exhale for double the amount that we inhale. So for today, we're going to do 4 and 8. Okay. And I'll keep count, but sometimes counting for yourself is also part of the relaxation. So if you find that helpful, you can do that for yourself as well. So let's start here simply by emptying the breath out completely. And then you're going to inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your mouth for 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep exhaling. 5, 6, 7. Complete that exhale at 8. Good. Inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep going. 1, 2. Inhaling 3, right up to 4. Good. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do one more round. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now release that effort and counting of the breath. Allow that natural breath to come in. If you found some tension coming back up into the body, maybe you again collect up a bit of saliva and swallow. That swallowing feeling is very helpful in releasing inner tension. Bringing the hands now onto the lower belly. And again, I'll invite you to join me in this yogic breath, but if you prefer to stay with your natural breath, you are welcome to do that. For the yoga breath now, we're going to breathe in through the nose and let the belly fill up. So expanding the belly gently, then exhaling out the nose and contracting the belly back in. So inhaling through the nose, expanding the belly out. Exhaling out the nose, contracting the belly in. Good. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. So we're going to work with this breath through practice as an option, this yogic breath. But if you prefer, again, if it feels best for you to stay with your natural breath, please do. However you're breathing here, be attentive, conscious of your breath. You can release your hands now onto your thighs. Good. And on your next exhale, as you contract the belly, slide the hands forward over the knees and begin to fold down over the legs. Be mindful of blood pressure here. If you need to keep your head above your heart, please do. Then as you inhale, glide the hands back up, coming right back up to seated, nice and tall. Using your full length of inhale and exhale here to fold forward as you breathe out. And rise up as you inhale, as you breathe in. We're bringing movement now into the breath. So exhaling to come down. Inhaling to come up. Good, let's do it a few more times. Opening up the back, getting some motion in the hips. Good, one more time like this. Good, as you come up to seated, slide your hands now onto your hips. Sitting up again in that nice tall space, but not so tall you feel rigid. Your shoulders are right on top of your hips here. So you're sitting up nice and straight. Head is stacked on top of the shoulders. Good. We're going to take those shoulders now and gently roll them up, back, and down just a few times here. Notice as you're rolling your shoulders, if you start to notice the head kind of moving around as well, that's just the head trying to find some of that freedom, that disconnection from the shoulders so it can move independently. Good. Let's try rolling the shoulders the other way. Good. Good. And then let those shoulders now settle onto your back. Feel your elbows hugging back as the shoulder blades start to squeeze together. Your hands can stay on your hips here, or you might slide them around to the back of your hips. So now your fingertips are pointing down towards the chair as your thumbs are on the outside of your hips. Good. Hugging those shoulders back, hugging those shoulder blades together and drawing the elbows back a little. Good. Then sink your tailbone down into the chair, and as you breathe in, lift your chest up a little higher. Good. Again, as you exhale, sink the tailbone down. As you inhale, lift the chest up. Good. Exhale, sink that tailbone down. Inhale, lift the chest up. Let's do one more like this. Exhale, sink that tailbone down. Inhale, lift the chest up. Good. Let's hold here gently. Keep your breath moving. So even though we're sort of holding the body in a position, the body itself is not actually perfectly still. There's always processes going on, breath moving. Good. Nice. Now come slightly back into your starting position. Release your hands. Maybe they come around to the back of the chair. holding onto the sides of the back of the chair now, or maybe you rest them back onto your hips. Good. From here, as you exhale, let those shoulders round forward, drop the chin down, hug the belly in and curl in. Now be mindful of your spine. If there are injuries or osteoporosis there, you may not be curling as deeply, and that's okay. Then inhale, lift that chest up, press gently into the chair, take the shoulders back, look up, big breath in here. Exhale, curling down and in. Rounding the shoulders forward, kind of puffing up that mid back area. Good. Inhale, lifting up, looking up. Exhale, curling down and in. A few more times like this. Two more. Getting that spine moving, freeing it up is so essential for the whole body's movement and health. Good. One more. Big breath in. This time as you exhale, return to your starting position, freeing the hands up at your sides with the palms forward and the shoulders back. Again, sitting up so that your shoulders are right over top of your hips. So there's a little lift here, but not so much that we're feeling tight or rigid. Reestablishing your yogic breath if you found you've lost it. Good. And then we're going to tilt the head towards the left. Keep the arms as they are. And then bring the head to center and tilt it over to the right. Good. And again to center and then to the left. And center and to the right. And center. And this time as you go to the left, pause there to the left. Turn your right palm in towards you and just let that right arm hang down. For some of you, you might drape your left arm up and over your head to add a little weight to the head. But if there is any concern for the spine or neck here, just let the arm stay at your side. Try tucking your chin in just a little bit. See if that tightens the sensation slightly. Again, we're holding the body here, but keeping the breath moving. Good job. Good. If you have your left hand resting on your head, let that left arm come down. Again, turn the palm in now. Bring the head to center and tilt it over to the right. Go slow and be very attentive to how it's feeling in your neck and shoulders. So the head now is gently tilted to the right. The left arm is hanging at your side. You might take that right arm up and drape it over the head to add a little weight here. That's just an option. Keep those shoulders soft. And then maybe tuck your chin in a little bit. It doesn't have to be a big tuck. Usually just even a little bit of a tuck there will bring a bit more stretch through the neck, jaw, and shoulder. And let's release that right hand down, bring the head back up into center, and then bring those hands back onto the thighs. But we're going to slide the hands forward this time to bring the elbows down onto the thighs, coming into a half forward fold here. As you do have a quick glance at your feet, make sure they're still pointing straight forward and there's about 2 fist distance between the feet. Good. From here, send your chest forward now, as though your collarbones were being magnetically drawn towards the computer screen or towards the space in front of you. Then tuck your chin slightly and see if you can lengthen your neck to meet that length of the spine. Now, if you do have any concerns for your spine or back, you're going to keep your elbows on your thighs. This is going to give you a little extra support. If the spine and back are feeling okay today, you might take your arms out to your sides like wings, turning the palms towards the ground. Wherever you are, though, keep just a little engagement of the belly space, just a little drawing in of the belly, not so much that you restrict your breath, but enough to support the back here. Good. Pressing down into your feet, feel as though you're almost about to take off out of the chair. Good. For those of you who are feeling you've got a little extra strength in that back today, you might take your arms out alongside of your head, reaching the arms forward. That's going to add a fair bit more work though to the back, so be mindful for yourself what is appropriate. If your knees, hips, and low back have any issues today, you're going to stay seated just like this here. If the knees, hips, and low back are feeling okay, you can slide some weight off the chair into your feet so your hips are hovering from the chair. How's your breathing here? How's that yogic breath? Good. From here, let's press into those feet and rise up, either coming up to stand or straight up to seated, nice and tall. Take the arms up, look up, stretch up. Good. And then exhale, let the arms drop. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, let them go. Big releasing breaths. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, let it go. Good. Again. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. And let it go. Good. Shake those arms out. If you're standing, take your feet a little wider apart, probably slightly wider than your hips. Good. And we're going to do a little twisting here, letting the arms flop from side to side. Now, if you're standing, allow yourself to pivot on one foot at a time as you twist. So you're pivoting off the opposite foot to the direction you're twisting. So if you pivot to the right, you're coming off your left heel. If you pivot to the left, you're coming off your right heel. And you're just twisting like this from side to side. Now, if you're sitting in the chair, you can take the twist from the upper body. Good. Now, if you're sitting in the chair, the hands are going to start to tap kind of around the outer thigh and maybe the back of the hip. You can do a little tap as you touch there, twisting from side to side, a little firm tap. If you're standing, the hands are probably coming more around the front of the hip, maybe the back of the hip, maybe the sides of the waist. So as you're twisting here, give a little tap. Wherever the hands are sort of falling naturally, do a little firmer tap there. Good. Keep that breath going. This is so good to do first thing in the morning. So helpful to get that spine moving, toning our nervous system, getting us ready to meet the day in a nice, calm and balanced way. Really nice. A few more times here. Keep it up. We got it. Good. Let those arms really swing as best you can. It's a little harder in the chair, I know. So just doing what is available to you. All right. Nice. And see if you can make that swing a little smaller, starting to plant the heels on the floor, bringing the arms to your sides, turning the palms forward and coming to sit or stand now in Tadasana. Feet again, hip distance apart, shoulders back, chest lifted, gaze is straight ahead. So again, depending on if you're sitting or standing and where your computer screen is, you're probably not looking at your computer screen now, and that's okay. Look straight ahead. Notice what you're seeing with your eyes. Do a little quick scan. Notice what you're hearing with your ears. Notice what you're sensing with your skin, smelling with your nose, and tasting with your tongue. Okay. Now, for those who are standing, bring your chair up to the top of your mat. And if you happen to have a couple bricks close by, you could use them. You don't need them, so that's okay. But if you have them, you're going to put them stacked underneath your chair, just slightly to the right. So it's against the right leg of the chair. And then let's come to face the chair. If you're sitting, stay seated just as you are. We're returning to Tadasana here. Okay. For those who are standing, you have a couple options. If you don't have blocks, And if taking the right leg up onto the chair is a bit high for you, then simply place your right foot under the chair a little bit. Otherwise, you could place it on the blocks if you have them. Or if it's available, take your right hand onto the back of the chair, your left hand on the seat of the chair, and lift that right foot up onto the seat of the chair itself. Make sure though that the whole right foot is on the chair. Sitting, keep your right foot where it is, extend the left leg out in front, flex the left toes back. This is for those who are sitting, and we're sitting tall here. Good. Okay, so for those of you who are standing, however you have your right foot, bring both hands now onto the back of the seat of the chair. And let's all lift the chest up a little bit. Settle your sit bones and your tailbone down. Good, gazes forward. Very nice. Now, if you're sitting, take your left hand to your right thigh and your right hand on your hip. If you're standing, you can keep your left hand on the chair and bring your right hand onto the hip. Or if balance is feeling steady, you could come up and bring your left hand on your right thigh and then your right hand on your hip. But that requires a little bit of balance. So be attentive here what works best for you as we're coming into a bit of a twist towards the right. Good, how's your breathing? Oh yes, that breath. Some of you might release your right arm out behind you, bring the palm towards the ceiling. Notice the rotation in your shoulder. We're not trying to close the shoulder off, turning it forward. Roll that shoulder back and let the arm simply follow. Good. Just a couple more breaths here. You've got it. We're going to come in just as mindfully, just as mindfully as we came in. So right hand on the right hip, slowly unwind the upper body, hands to the chair or onto your lap if you're sitting, lifting the chest up, looking forward. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you a few options here. If you're sitting, let your right hand hang down beside you, keep your left arm up overhead or left hand on your left shoulder. If you're standing, you can keep your right hand on the chair or bring your right elbow up onto your right thigh. Then the left arm is going to extend overhead and we'll start to curve over to the right. So again, you could keep your right hand on the chair if you want that little extra support for balance. If you're sitting, your right arm's down beside you, your left arm's over. I'll actually give you another option. If you're sitting, you could come forward onto your right elbow and then bring that left arm over. Good. How's your breathing here? Big full breaths as we open up through the side of the body. Good. Side angle pose. You've got it. Big breath. Root through the feet. Lift through the heart. See if you can open a little space between those shoulder blades. Beautiful. If you're standing, let your left hand come down onto the chair first, then the right hand comes onto the chair, lifting the chest up, looking forward. If you're sitting, your hands can rest in your lap, and again, sitting up nice and tall. Those who have their right foot on the seat of the chair, you can take your left hand down onto the chair so you can help slide that right foot off. Then bring both hands onto the seat of the chair and walk your feet back away from the chair, coming into downward facing dog, sliding those hips out over the heels. If you're sitting in the chair now, plant both feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Interlace your fingers, press your palms forward and up, coming into your downward dog here. Find your breath again. Feel that inhale and exhale. Good. Those who are standing, walk your feet up now towards the chair. Take your hands up onto the back of the chair and pause there for a moment as we start to make our way up. Let blood pressure balance out. And if you find as you come all the way up, there's any dizziness or lightheadedness, please have a seat in your chair. Good. Coming all the way up to stand now or sit tall in Tadasana. Good. All right, let's come into the other side. So if you're using blocks or bricks, move them over to the left side underneath your chair. Again, your left foot might come on the blocks or might simply rest on the floor under your chair. Or take your left hand on the back of the chair, right hand on the seat of the chair, and lift that left foot up onto the chair. If you're sitting, your left foot stays where it is, the right leg extends forward, heel on the ground, toes coming back. Good. Breathing. Big full breaths. Good. If you're standing, you can bring both hands now onto the back of the chair. Everybody lift that heart up, that chest up a little bit higher, look forward. All right. All right. Those who are sitting, take your right hand to your left thigh, your left hand onto your left hip, and come into your twist here. For those who are standing, you could keep your right hand on the chair, take your left hand onto your left hip, or if you're feeling steady here, as you press into your feet, stand a little taller and take that right hand onto the left thigh, gently twisting to look towards the left. Not losing your breath here. Maintain your breath. Some of you might take your left hand out behind you. Some of you might keep your left hand on your hip. That's fine. Be where you are now. Let this moment in. Receive all the aspects of this moment. What you see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Beautiful. Good job. One more breath like this. You've got it. If you're standing, slowly, left hand to the left hip, unwind the upper body, right hand to the chair, left hand to the back of the chair. Good. Everybody here looking forward, lifting the chest up. All right, those who are sitting, you have the option of having your left hand at your side or left elbow on your left thigh, if that is available. If you're standing, you could keep your left hand on the back of the chair or bring your left elbow on your left thigh. Then let's all take that right arm up towards the sky and start to curve over towards the right. Beautiful long stretch down the right side of the body. Meet all the sensation with your breath. Big full breath. Again, soften, spread a little space between those shoulder blades. Beautiful. Let the right hand down. If you're standing, bring it onto the back of the chair. Then bring your left hand onto the back of the chair. Good. If you're standing and your left foot's on the seat of the chair, you can bring your right hand down to support, then slide that left foot off. And we're all going to come back into downward facing dog. So coming back into your variation of downward dog. Heels heavy to the floor. And if you're standing, the hips go back. If you're sitting, think of your hips sinking down. Lifting through the chest a little, lengthening through the sides of the body. And you've got it, breathing in and out through the nose. And for those of you who are comfortable coming onto your knees, you could use the chair here to help yourself down onto your knees. Take your knees wide, bring your big toes to touch, sinking your hips back, and coming down into child's pose. If you're not comfortable coming onto your knees, but you are okay to come to the floor, then you can come to lay down onto your back, bringing yourself down in whatever way works for you. Taking your knees wide and holding onto your shins with your hands. If you would prefer to stay seated in your chair or to come to sit in your chair, please do that. And then take your legs wide apart with your feet flat on the floor and fold down between your legs, maybe putting your elbows on your thighs or holding onto your shins, ankles, or the floor. Again, be mindful of blood pressure here. If you need to keep your head lifted, please do. Okay, again, we're going to work a little bit with our breath here. So we'll do a few rounds now, about 2 minutes of Brahmari breathing. Placing your tongue at the roof of your mouth very softly, just let it rest there. Inhaling naturally through your nose. As you exhale, you're going to gently hum, which will create a vibration in your tongue on the roof of your mouth. So you're not actually trying muscularly to move your tongue. It's just that little humming sound you're going to make that will create that vibration all on its own. So let's try together here. We'll start together and then just allow yourself to breathe in this pattern on your own rate, in your own tempo. Okay, so let's start here with an exhale breath. And then as you inhale, very softly rest your tongue at the roof of your mouth. And as you exhale, begin to hum. Again, naturally inhaling and humming out. Keep going like that at your own tempo. Three more breaths like this. Allow your tongue now to drop down from the roof of your mouth. Release any effort to your breath. Let a natural breath come back in. If you're sitting in the chair, you can slowly roll up to sit tall. If you're lying on your back, you can release your feet to the ground. If you're on your knees, slowly roll up and come to sit on the floor. If you are lying on your back, go ahead and roll over to one side and come on up to sit on the floor as well. Okay. If you're sitting on the floor, you might extend your legs straight out if that works for you. Maybe placing a bolster or pillow underneath your knees. If sitting cross-legged is available, you can also do that. We're just going to do a little bit more here before we come down for our Savasana. Good. So from here, let's bring palms together and just do a little gentle rub of the hands together. We're going to do a nice deep relaxation technique here. So a little gentle rub of the palms. It's not a vigorous rubbing here. We just kind of want to lift a bit of sensation up into the hands. Then you're going to take these hands and start by cupping them over your eyes. Just feel that lovely support of the hands. And then your hands are going to come back over the temples, over top of the ears, down behind the ears, down the neck. Crossing the hands when they come to the base of the neck and taking them down, wiping down the arms to the hands. Okay, let's do that again. Rub those palms together. Gently place the hands over the eyes and receive the warmth and support of the hands here. Then take those hands and gently press along the temples, gently over the top of the ears, along the hair there, down behind the ears, down the neck. Crossing the hands, go from the shoulders down the arm. All right, let's do one more. Yeah, rubbing those palms. And then taking the hands, gently cupping them over the eyes. Receiving the warmth and support of the hand. Then taking the hands to the temples, over the top of the ears, down the back of the ears, down the neck. Crossing the hands, coming from the shoulders down the arms. We're going to do shoulders and arms one more time. Bring the hands up to the shoulders again and swipe down. Let's do that just one more time. Last time. Shoulders and down. Good. Then bring one hand at a time up onto your heart. Close the eyes for a minute and just notice. Receive this moment here. Recognizing there is nowhere you need to be right now. There is nothing you need to be doing in this moment, but receiving the moment you're in. Beautiful. If you're sitting in the chair, I'm going to encourage you to turn your whole body to your right. So you're sitting facing the right-hand side of the chair. Then you can bring both hands up to the back of your chair. Excuse me. If you're sitting on the floor, take your left hand to your right knee. And will slide behind you onto the ground or maybe on a pillow. And then pressing into your right hand to help yourself sit a little taller. Twist to look towards your right. Soften the jaw, the face, the shoulders. Stay present and conscious with your breath. If you can maintain a little of that surrendering ease you felt just a moment ago as we came to receive the present moment. Very nice. Let's inhale to unwind the body. If you are sitting in the chair, go ahead now and turn yourself towards the left-hand side of the chair, taking your hands around to the back of the chair. If you are on the floor, take your right hand now to your left knee, left hand snuggled in close behind you, up onto those fingertips, lift up and gently twist to your left, breathing deeply here. Feeling that fluid breath. Feeling a body in a relationship of trust with the present moment. Because the mind is not scattered elsewhere. The mind is not trying to get ahead of the body or try to pull the past forward. The mind is right where the body is in this moment right now. And this creates a wholeness for our systems that helps to settle and create ease, balance. Lovely. Let's inhale again. Unwind the body. Very nice. Let's wrap the arms over the chest, holding shoulders here, and give yourself a little rock. And then unwind those arms and wrap the opposite arm on top. Give yourself one more big bear hug here and a little rock. And then if you're sitting in the chair, go ahead and slide all the way to the back of your chair, maybe putting a pillow behind your back and underneath your feet. If you're lying on the floor, or sitting on the floor, you're gonna come to lie down now onto your back. You might place a bolster under your knees. You might place a pillow under your head. And it might even feel good to drape a blanket over top of you or just place a folded blanket on your belly. Do what you need here to create some comfort for your body and a position where your body feels symmetrical, balanced, and able to rest. Once you've done that for yourself, close your eyes. Let the eyes settle back into the head. Release any effort or shape that you may have been exerting on the breath. And come now to rest in a still space, a quiet space. Once again, receiving this moment, letting it in, being here now. And I'll bring us back when it's time to close the practice. keeping your eyes closed and your awareness turned inward. With the sound of my voice, simply notice where your mind may have wandered off to. Are you still in this moment now, or have you wandered away into dream space, some idea planning, some memory? Just notice without judgment. And now consciously, deliberately start to turn that awareness back in towards the body and become aware of your body here and now, just as it is. Again, without any judgment, but to just notice where your arms are without actually opening the eyes, but how are your arms positioned and your hands and fingers resting? Notice your legs and feet and toes. Notice the weight distributed throughout your body. Are you leaning a little bit more in one side than the other? Maybe you notice some patterns of gripping or tightness. Maybe you notice some areas that feel release and softness. Simply come to witness your body right now as it is. And then begin to introduce some movement into this body, feeling what it's like to energize the body again, to wiggle fingers and toes, to maybe turn your head from one side to the other. I'm going to invite you today to take your arms up over your head and stretch long. Maybe for you, though, it feels best to curl in a little bit. You can do that as well. If you're lying on the floor, you can bend your knees now and come to roll over to one side. If you're sitting in the chair, you can remove any props you may have been using and come to sit forward in your chair, once again having your feet flat on the floor. If you're lying on your side on the floor, take your time to press yourself back up to come to sit up on the floor or back into your chair. Try not to rush yourself at all. Take the time you need. Once you've come to your seat, bring your hands to touch into Anjali Mudra in front of the heart, and once again close the eyes. With the eyes closed, receive this moment just as it is, and then softly open the eyes, but without really turning on that analytical mind. Just start to sort of take in the space in front of you. Notice the details of the space, maybe the furniture, maybe any pictures you might have hanging on the wall. Become attentive, aware of the room that you're in. And then with a big smile, bow your head towards your heart and give your body, mind, and heart a big thank you for moving through practice today, for breathing, feeling, experiencing. Thank you all so much for continuing to come and to practice yoga together. Namaste.